Hey, DC here for a treatment of mulch volcanoes. Volcanoes don't belong around trees. Let us see what we're talking about here. It's not good. It's not good at all, because by raising up the mulch around the base of the tree, what starts to happen is that you literally start to rot the tree away. Right there, you see that? And once that rots the whole way around, that's pretty much the end of the tree, because if you girdle all the way around, that's how the tree gets its nutrients, and water is up the outside. So it's up the outside of the tree that it gets that, and it also causes something called a girdling root. And a girdling root is where the tree thinks that this is the new ground level, and this new ground level then becomes the place where roots need to form. Now, if you see this part of the tree here that flares out, okay, that is the flare. This mulch should never be much above this point, because the flare is supposed to be above ground, because that's what it is that the tree builds up over time to stabilize itself against wind. So I'll cruise along, and I'll see one more example of a mulch volcano. So here, this buttress, this looks pretty good. You see some suckering growth coming out of the side. Now, I can't for sure say whether this suckering is just part of the tree or whether that's caused by the mulch being too high either. That would be something I would have to research, but it's not good. And I think a long time ago, I know when I was a landscape contractor, I do a little bit still, is you tend to make a basin around new trees where you raise the edges up. And the idea was to create a bird bath or a saucer, so that as you water the new tree or plant, that the water stops at that edge, so that the water has a chance to perk straight down to the roots rather than just wash off the top. And I think a lot of guys wanted to try to duplicate that raised edge, but they really didn't know why they were doing it. So I think they started doing these volcanoes, these little mountains, as a way to copy that. The other reason I think may be that, the idea is if you dump a ton of mulch around something, you're not going to get weeds nearly as quickly. Well, on one hand, that may be true, but the problem that you're running into there is you're creating an environment that's staying wet too long and become boggy. Now, some plants tolerate that more than others. Some plants like more drainage than others. But I think it started out for looks, and then it just kind of morphed into something crazy. And I'm seeing it everywhere. So I don't want to just criticize, this institution. It's rampant. So if you want volcanoes, if you want to see a volcano, go to Hawaii. Don't build it around your trees. You're going to rot out the tree, kill it early. You're asking for disease. You're asking for girdling roots, which grow around the trunk, which will eventually strangle the tree and kill it. Why? You spend a lot of money on landscape trees. Don't let the local mower guy or yourself screw it up by piling mulch up against the bark. So, hey, of all the things I do and all the messing around I do online, this lesson that I'm telling you is a good thing. It's a money saver, and I highly recommend that you pay attention to it. Along those lines too, when you go to the nursery and you get the potted plant, take a look at the bottom stem and make sure that that bottom buttress or flare is showing a little bit, because they also have a tendency to plant cuttings and things in the nursery after they propagate, and they plant them too deep too. So you're basically dooming your plants to eventual death from the very beginning for no good reason. No good reason at all. All right, so man, be green, green revolution, plant trees, suck the carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. That's all for now.